That's right. What up, what up, what up? It's better. Okay. How we doing out there in the ether? I'll be talking to myself, but got Ray here with me today too, of course. As always. With a fresh new haircut, looking bomb. Alright. Oh, nice. Does look way better. So, here I am again, working on the Lizard Man in the Lizard Cave, stream 001. Oh, it's looking alright. From a bird's eye view. Could probably have a little bit of I'll give you a render view as well. So through the render camera, I've changed the angle up a little bit, make it a little bit more interesting. I've also got a bit of dialogue that he's speaking now, which I actually voice recorded myself with the help of Ben. And so it's meant to be a little bit comedic. I hope that'll read, considering the rest of it's quite monstrous and like scary. I have a feeling I'm not going to be able to get through the entirety of Polish in this stream today, which is a little bit annoying, but it's okay because, you know, I've still got a little bit of time. I'll probably end up working on it over the weekend, just to get it at a good point where it's, you know, like you're proud of, you know, I want to be proud of showing this to people. And at the moment, in its current form, yeah, it's cool. I can show that I can animate and, you know, kind of tell a little bit of a story, but it's not something that I would be like, hey guys, look at what I can do. And that's really what we want from our work as artists and as creatives. So that's what I'm going to aim for. It's probably going to be targeting specific sets of keys. So I've been working through about this half so far. So if it's 310, it'll be like this is halfway, 155. And that's actually pretty much exactly where I've gotten to. So I've broken it down into chunks of first shot, so to speak. What have you done? That's what he says. What have you done? It's a little bit messy. Probably make that come up a little bit less. This is where, again, it's, you know, you can get very caught up in the details of all this stuff. So sometimes it's better to just live and let be. I can't actually hear it on my end because I don't have any headphones. Do I have headphones at all, Ray? No. So I'm not going to worry about the lip sync. But that's the first chunk. Then it changes to the next chunk, which was about this. So, you know, there's pieces which could always be better. You can always spend time refining, but at a certain point you just have to be happy with what you've got and work with the time allocated. And that's what I've failed to do, I think, for the most part with my timeline of this production so far, is, you know, work within a certain schedule of allocated time for each stream, and now I'm, you know, paying for that. I should have had a little bit more of time dedicated outside of the stream to allocating that time, but it is what it is. We live and we learn. And that's why we do exercises like this, and show it to the populace so that you can learn from my mistakes. Whoever is actually out there watching. Alright, so for now, I'm just going to give this maybe one last quick pass so that I'm pretty happy with it, and then I'll move on to the next chunk. I'll focus on the torso, focus on the hips, and then focus on just trying to clean up and polish what I can in the time allocated. So for now, I'm just going to look at that feet, timing of those feet. Goes probably a little bit earlier than I would like it to. So I'm just going to delete this key with my hotkey number 9, so it deletes the key, and then change to the world view, and delete that key. Stop interacting with Geo, delete that key, and bring this key forward. One more key. So now it's looking a bit cooler. Might change this to just to see quite easily the silhouette between the toe and the ground. I think his hips, his center of gravity could probably be a little bit later also. So I'm just going to change that. Immediately better. And then I want to see his textures. There's a little pop in the chest there. Two things counter animating. This one's counter animating that one. So I reckon I'll key that, delete this key. Still happening. Maybe counter animating itself also. So where is this pop coming from? Someone is shredding it on the guitar too in the background. Don't know where that's coming from. This pop's gonna annoy me until I figure this out. Maybe it's this one. Nope. What is causing this? It's gotta be this. Surely. That's it. There we go, that's better. Leave his head drag a little bit more what it is currently. See on the y-axis, has nothing at all at the moment, which is why it probably needs it. So I'll drop it. So in which direction? About there. I want it to go that way, as if he's kind of like leaving his head behind, because he's that annoyed by what he's had to do. And I'll just give it a bit of ease in and ease out of its own accord. It's better already. And then I fix these keys so that it also has a bit of ease in, ease out. That's a bit too much, because it doesn't have any up until that point, so I'm going to give it all of these keys, as well as all of these and all of these. So that should be it. So now it just feels a bit heavier on the up. So if I key this, remove that one, it's just going to interpolate the keys for me. So I have to smooth it out a little bit. There we go, that's it. Could have a little bit more of a hold in his neck here before he starts to come over. Just give it that, you know, that swing of the follow through. Something that I've thought about and had the realization of is how little I give the attention to the animation principles. That's something that I really need to, I guess, retrain myself and rethink about. You know, like here, you can, like, there's, you know, very little anticipation. So now, seeing it with, you know, a different set of eyes, in this frame here, instead of just going back, you can go down. Get him to go down. And then a little bit forward. So that instead of him just starting, he has a little bit of give before he goes, you know? And it can also, instead of just lifting his arm, give him a little push off. And you want to spend the time doing things that are going to amplify and improve your work, instead of just fluffing around in the wind, which is a lot of what I've done in the past. This is again where we live and we learn, so you can't be super judgmental for that, but you know, I'm going to anyway, because I can. This is where it's nice to have that secondary of the arm. Maybe even make that a bit later. give the offset of the rotations. That's why. And now it's just the arm acting and all in itself, whereas if he's pushing off, his shoulder would actually be coming down. Into the up. It's better. A little bit more world envelopment. Still feels like his arm's coming up too early though. Have him frame down one more. There we go. It's reading better. So it's pushing off from the ground. And in this case, reuse keys, as Jake would say. Howdy, Josh Tucker. I'm doing very well today, thank you, sir. And yourself? Or thank you, and yourself? Thank you for tuning in on this marvelous day. Yeah, simple and sweet. Aight. Are you a creative yourself, Josh? Where are you tuning in from? I hope you guys also can't hear all of these like sirens in the background. It sounds like there's an air raid going on. Alright, so I think I'm just gonna leave this section as it is just for a while, so I can move on and get some other stuff done throughout the course of this session. I just need just one more thing. There we go. There we go. Now he's pushing. Can have this start maybe here. Just starting to get back into animation. Just recently gotten back into drawing, which is cool. Nice, me too, my friend. Hoping to do the VED course once I finish school. Awesome. What, so in year 12 or? I don't know why I would assume year 12, but just felt right. Year 11, nice, man. And what kinds of things are you interested in drawing? So I'm just looking at the rotation of his chest as opposed to his hips here, and the chest comes through at the same time as the hips. I want to offset that a bit. I think it is on this control. So I'm just gonna offset that to probably here. Same with this one. Maybe whole key. Invest in a drawing pad and start to do stuff like concept art and all that. Also 3D character design. Nice. Would you... Yeah, very cool. And so are you thinking of like conceptualizing 3D character design or environmental concept? Because it's a very, very, very broad range of things. And I would, you know, it's your life, you do what you want, of course, but it's sometimes better to find something, yeah, find something that you really, really love, and then, as they say, let it kill you. But, you know, find something that you love and then really dig into that and get really, really good at that, I guess, before you try to spread yourself too thin. I've done that very many times in my life, and I'm still learning, because there are just so many things to do. It's so much fun to have in life, but sometimes it's just about looking at one targeted area. And I guess this piece for me is a good example of that, where I've spent a lot of time looking at every single part of this model and being like, I need to do so much to get to the end result, where in reality, you do the hips, you're halfway there. And that's like, you start to concept, you know, 3D or 3D characters, depending on what you want to do, you're halfway there. But it's got to align with, of course, what you want to do. So it is damn bored to choose, man. It's very hard to choose. What takes your interest of, you know, what do you want out of it, I guess? It's a very good question to have in the back of your mind in terms of the intention of, you know, why are you doing the artwork? Are you doing it for a job? Are you doing it because you absolutely love drawing? You know, what captivates you? What interests you? What gets you passionate? Okay, so this guy's looking alright now, just after giving him a little bit more attention to the chest. It can always be better, but at this point now, I'm just going to move on to... I'm just going to give it a save. Don't forget to save. Save as, I guess. Version up, so it's incremental, so that I can be like, okay, this is where this stream started, and then it's dated and everything, not saving over old work. So now I'm going to move on to the next section. So from 1011 to 1168, it's just another chunk of the animation. This is what I've done so far. Just give you a little bit of audio just in case you can hear it.
Done. What have you done?
It's not looking too bad. Not too bad at all. And it's coming from a place where I absolutely hated it yesterday. And I think that's just the fluctuation of artists and their lives. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves to have a certain output. And if we don't reach that output, it's like nothing is good enough.
What have you done?
You know, this has taken a lot of time to craft, and that's what we have to remember.
What have you done?
Thank you, Josh. I appreciate that, mate. Can you hear the audio for the dialogue?
What have you done? What have you done?
So it's kind of in between. So this is like the primary pass, I guess, of like this first chunk. Nice.
What have
Cool.
you done?
Good to hear. I won't keep it playing because that'll be annoying in the end, but so I've gone through in these keys through this section. This is more like key posing and sort of previous of conceptualizing the idea, which has changed a few times now. And then from blocking, you go into kind of like spline, and then you go into the primary animation, which is, you know, polishing those key poses into more weighty and, you know, getting those principles in there. And then from there, you can go into the secondary animation and so on and so forth. But from here, I'm just kind of taking those chunks from this section, those chunks are now, in my mind, you know, primary complete. So I'm going to move on to this section, which I started to do a little bit of adjustment of the walk. Do you need to be good at math to do this? That's a very good question. The short answer, no. And I say that only because the program does all of this math for you, right? So if I look at the positioning of his center of gravity control, which is this purple one moving through the scene. So this control is going to hold all of this mathematical information in terms of where his offset control is, and then the offset control in accordance to where his global control is in terms of the world space. And this is like going to get confusing quick, but this is just to show you how much math goes into the software in itself. So this world control, just quick save, holds all of the data as to the accordance of where the rig is in space. And then in accordance to where this world control is, it holds the mathematical information of where the offset control is. And then, you know, so there's all a hierarchy through this stuff. And then the center of gravity in accordance to where the offset control is. So the software is doing all of this mathematical information for you, which is incredible. You know, people had to sit here and labor over this to build these kind of tools, to develop this, you know, quite lovely looking UI that is going to give us the ability to have, you know, different visualizations of what is doing what. So the short version of all of that is I have now the ability to have 3 different axes in a virtual environment where I can program, it's essentially programming, this character to move from this position to this position depending on these different attributes. And that's all done with math. So the short answer, you don't need to be good at math to do this. The long answer, the better you are at math, the better you are at the program. And that's, I think, relevant to not only character animation, visual effects, compositing, rigging, but I also think life. Once we start to break down life into its certain elements, we start to realize that almost everything is mathematics in itself. You know, everything holds a certain frequency of vibration. Everything holds a, you know, a weight or a mass or a liquid, you know, a milliliter, a liter. So I think it is all very relevant. And if there's one thing that I wish I did when I was younger and growing up, was give myself the time and the people around me the time to actually learn mathematics, because it is incredibly beneficial. And now I find myself looking back and, you know, it's never too late to start, but it's always more difficult to learn. And I guess something that you need to have is the interest. You know, you have to find it interesting to actually want to learn mathematics, or just, you know, or physics. You know, physics is amazing. It is amazing. It's what makes up life. It's what powers things. But so you wouldn't say that I needed to do specialist or math methods to do this. It's up to you. That's the beauty of it. You know, it's up to you. If you were going to go into something like scripting, where this is the engine behind the software, where it's telling all of the different tools of the 3D viewport what's going on. If you were to start writing different pieces of code, so like importing of the Maya operating systems, and then, you know, do this, etc. So a really quick, easy example is the selection of different controls. If you know how to do math, your brain is going to work in a more it's able to understand different languages better, essentially, which is going to give you the opportunity to build tools that are going to make your life easier in this program. So these are just tools from the studio, and they all have a different like use. All built with math. So if it interests you, yeah, fucking do it, man. It's going to benefit you for sure. But if you want to do it for, you know, the creation of character, which sometimes isn't as much about math, then you might not need it as much. But if you're doing it for animation, I would recommend it. Yeah, for sure. But maths was a subject when I went to school I despised. I'm not gonna lie, I had absolutely no interest whatsoever. I was like, this is never gonna, you know, come in handy in my life. There's nothing that I'm gonna use this for. And boy, was I wrong. You know? I think what it's taught me is that a lot of the time it's not about specific things that are going to be useful, like Pythagoras theorem and all of those kinds of different, you know, philosophies, I guess, and just, you know, mathematical practices. But it's also about developing your brain's ability to learn different things and learn in a different way than you're used to. That's, I think, a big part of math, and very beneficial part of math and life is the ability to learn. You know, how well do you learn on a day-to-day basis? Do you struggle to pick up new? And I think everyone's, you know, kind of struggles, but a lot of that is mindset. Are you interested in learning? You know, are you wanting to grow your knowledge database? Or are you content on kind of like just getting by? You know, I was very happy to just get by for a very long time. And that's a very, you know, long conversation for another time if you're interested. Just about personal life and where I was at the time. It's not the easiest thing to do while focusing on this, because I still want to get quite a lot of this work done. But yeah, for a long time I was just content to get by. Whereas now I'm like, quite literally every day is a blessing to be alive. We're lucky to be alive. Things can go wrong and things can change in lives and families and people in an instant, and, you know, we have to really appreciate what we have before it's gone. Because you never know what's around the corner. It's, your life can change in a day, you know? Your life can change in a minute, in an hour. Anyway, I'll stop talking shit. But I do love to talk about those kinds of things and, you know, explore different trains of thought. Anyway, let's give this another save. This is, I was just working on the hips of the stamp, of the boom. Trying to have that weight carried behind it. Knowledge hungry. That's beautiful. I'm glad to hear that, Josh. Then do it. Do it. I would say go for math specialist, you know. Be a specialist of mathematics, because mathematics is something that you can attribute to every single aspect of life. And I'm not just saying that, because life is math. And I wish I had somebody tell me that when I was, you know, I still am growing up. There's a lot of growing up for me to do still. But when I was in, you know, year 11, year 12, year 10 even of high school, I just farted around, man, and, you know, had fun. And you're meant to. That's the years of your life where you're meant to develop who you are as a person and you know, just grow. But I was wasting time. And looking back on it now, I'm sad, because I'm like, fuck, I could have done so much more. But it all happens for a reason, whatever that may be. At the moment, I'm not sure. But I'm sure one day I will know. And if you're knowledge hungry, that's the best place to start. Start where you are interested, where you're keen to learn things, and where it's going to be a good driving force, because it doesn't last forever. You get to a point where you're okay to know what you know, and then if you don't know it, it's not the end of the world, because you already have a bunch of knowledge in other things. Whereas if you're full of knowledge about mathematics, god damn, you run the world. So again, I have my render camera, which I look at for the most part on my second screen. And then I'm kind of like using this in world space to just see the feeling of how he's moving. So that's it, stutter. It could be fleshed out. Just smooth out. See, it doesn't look too bad in camera, but then as soon as you look outside of camera, oh boy. And a lot of this is held through the Translate Z. So I'll see how far I can get just deleting those keys. Got quite far, and then he jumps back. And then he jumps forward quite viciously. So then I check my Translate X. Then the keys that I've just deleted, I'll do here too, so that they kind of line up, because I have a feeling it's going to be the case. So now I can see that this is my main key. So these other ones I'm just going to get rid of. And then look at, so that's his step. So about here, I want it to be about halfway through. So I'll bring him back. See what foot he should be carrying that weight on, which is his character right foot. So far, way better. And this section through here, there's going to be some fighting with the offset control in the way that I've moved him through the scene. In a better world, I would put a lot more time into evening out this and making it not so like destructive in the workflow, but I'm just going to roll with the punches and do what I can with what I've got. How should you develop your artist portfolio? It's a good question. I would recommend firstly having a look at people's professional portfolios online. A lot of the time it's going to be less being more, and just how you started out this conversation, which is simple and sweet. You know, a lot of people want to see what you can do, and they put a lot into many different facets, and then, you know, it's all pretty good, but it's not all amazing. And it doesn't all have to be amazing, don't get me wrong. So for something like animation, I would first have a look at other professionals' showreels in the industry. So just look up 3D animation professional showreel on YouTube or something like that, and then see what they've done. You know, give it a little bit of time of researching reference, because that's really what animation is all about, is having reference and building from there. And then from that point, I think you're free to, you know, find something that interests you again. That's pretty much what I'm going to say for almost everything in life, is have it be something that is interesting to you. There's no point going about, I don't know, if I take anything. Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. So do research of what showreels stand out to you and are interesting to watch. Find things that are interesting to animate that benefit you. Collaborate short between 2 to 6 second clips of animations that you get to a point that you're happy with, and then you move on from, because there's certain things that can just dig in time and you'll just work on forever, and then you're not gonna improve that way. You know, you get to a certain point with the animation, and then you just keep polishing and keep polishing and keep polishing. And in some cases, it is better to just start again. So research showreels, find something to animate that is interesting to you. Do between 2 to 6 seconds on, you know, a couple of different shots. Depends if you want to do camera work and stuff like that. It varies. Sometimes nothing is better. You're really just trying to show off the animation. And then from there, develop maybe a 30 second to a minute reel of, this is my name, here's the work I can do, thank you for watching. I would say that's probably the best way of having an artist portfolio as a 3D animator. And that's just my personal opinion. I may be wrong. One of the guys here at CDW, Jake, did a whole breakdown of showreels and what works for showreels. He's probably a much better person to ask in that department, but yeah, just one more time in case I ran through it a bit quickly. Research. I wonder if this is Epic Pen. No. So research showreels, find showreels that you like. Don't copy them, but, you know, take reference from them, and then find pieces of animation and rigs that you would be interested in using. 2 to 6 seconds of a bunch of different clips, maybe a little bit more if you have, you know, an interesting story in mind or something like that. And then, you know, between 40 or 30 seconds to a minute 30. I'd say that's all pretty good. After I finish my digital multimedia course, should I mix my portfolio with 3D animation, concept art, my general drawing skills, etc., or stick to one thing? I would say if you can find a way to engage your 3D animation ability with your general drawing skills, it would be quite a good thing. Your concept art ability isn't going to come into it too much unless you're doing like storyboarding and stuff like that. So I would encourage finding your speciality and honing into that, it's going to be cool to have 3D animation on your reel, as well as a little bit of concept art, as well as a little bit of drawing, but it's not going to be the most appetizing thing to see from a recruiter, because they're going to see that you are quite generalist as opposed to a specialist in something. You know, we all look for somebody who's really good at that one thing, as opposed to really good at a bunch of different things, I guess. Which isn't a bad thing. You know, it's not bad to be good at a bunch of different things. It just, in this industry, isn't what people are looking for the most part. I would, however, recommend with the 3D animation, if you had a piece of footage that you have done reference of yourself doing a certain animation, like a weight challenge or something like that, and then you put that into your reel, I would love to, from an animator's perspective, see how you incorporate yourself shooting your own reference and then putting it into a 3D environment. That's what I would love to see in a show reel. But that's just me. And then if you specialize in more than one thing, yeah, show it. Go for it. Again, like, my opinion is only my opinion and mine alone, and I wouldn't say any of the things that I'm saying are like hold fast rules of you should do this and you'll get a job, or if you do this you won't get a job, because you never know. What if you specialize in more than one thing? If you specialize in more than one thing, you're doing very well for yourself. And I applaud. So again, I'm looking at the way that the character's moving through the space. So he needs to come forward more. Having that rise as he's coming up over his leg. And then I can add just an in-between to get this out of my head of here. So use this beautiful in-between script. Make my life a little bit easier. On this key. Let's smooth out these keys so it's a little bit easier. Might make this here. As you can see, it's just filling those gaps. Hope that answers, you know, even a bit of your question, Josh. Everyone's opinion is going to be different, but it's what I think. Thank you for asking. So here he lands on his right foot after a little hop. So I'm gonna need to bring him screen left. Keep him screen left. see if I can get away with... Nope. Yeah. So he pushes through, lands on his foot, pushes through again. This key's bothering me. It does, doesn't it? World of Warcraft vibes. I think it is actually designed to be a game rig. So it's very fitting. So the main difference in that aspect of being a game rig, I will identify in 1 second. Just get this key to a state of not hating. Is being a more lower topology model. So in film, we need to have all of these really detailed, high subdivision pieces of geometry, and the subdivisions are how many faces are held within a certain geometry's mass. And in this case, it is quite low topology. So if I was to just quick save, go modeling, mesh, which one is it? So I can just do an insert edge loop where this now adds an extra collection of faces, but because it's not built for a you know, film software, because it's game built, essentially, the edge flow isn't going to work in accordance with just being able to add edge loops. But in that case it is. So now this is more detailed. So it's going to have a different level of deformation in this point of the model. So if I was to, in a visual effects film environment, add more detail to this edge, I would put an edge loop here, 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 all around the rig, so that this edge stands out quite a lot more. But in a game environment, do you know when Yanni would resume his Unreal Engine streams? Really dig those. Well, firstly, glad you're getting around Yanni. He's a great guy. The Dewandil. I'm not sure. That's a question for Ray. Do you know when Yanni's continuing streams? Is he back on next week? No, he's done. Maybe later on in the semester, I think, or in the year. Otherwise, who knows? You might encourage him to stream in his free time. I'm sure he would be interested in doing that if he had enough of a following. But as you can see, in a game environment, to get these edges to be sharper, we use bump maps and displacement maps, so that instead of having more and more detail with faces and edge loops and edge flow and all that kind of stuff and topology, you have the detail in the actual texture itself, created by usually black and white or just different surfaces. So in the Lizard Man, we have a bump map, which is his original texture turned black and white, which ends up giving it the essentially levels of height which you need to show up in his actual rig, the places which you want. You know, this is concave and this is convex, etc. But for now, I'm going to focus a little bit more on... Thank you for calling me sir. What an honor. So yeah, just going to focus a little bit more on trying to get this polish of this section down. which is this through here. So I need him to hold a little bit more on the left, on his left foot. I'm streaming on a service called Restream, and Restream actually streams through both Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube, which are all the services of streaming that CDW Studios streams on. So if there's questions that are coming up that aren't coming up on YouTube, yeah, that's probably what you're seeing or what you're missing. Keep this back foot down. Just notice he's coming up quite a bit. And then I can delete these keys, copy this key across, keep his foot down for that whole section. Dig his toes in. Cheat the camera a little bit. Turn off the interaction with geometry so I can find this control, bring back the geometry, and don't get carried away with shitty detail, not shitty detail, but things that are almost inevitably going to change anyway, which is bringing this foot over, a little bit back. I'm just going to leave that actually. So now he's coming forward. Bring that foot forward. Pretty much get this in a position of almost planting, and then have it plant. Just get those contacts. Have him as if he's springing forward. So even out his foot placement here. And you'd probably prefer to have it so it's less rotation of the foot itself and more of just the toes. So that instead of like that, you'd want you can overdo it that. So now it feels quicker. Now it may be a little bit too quick, but see, this is getting carried away. So let's just focus on torso, hips. Although that's going to really bother me. Okay. Let's keep on keeping on. It's looking better. It's not making it easy because I'm fighting the axes, which doesn't make much sense to you guys, but just the direction of which his offset control is placed. That's technically forward. And I'm animating in that direction and that direction because that's forward. So I've kind of set this up to make it quite difficult for myself, foolishly, but again, we live and we learn. How do you get into CDW Studios? Well, you have a certain portfolio that you have, and then it's also a collaboration with Flinders as a actual degree, a bachelor degree. So I'd recommend going onto their website. You mean literally into the studio. You can get up through one of the sections of elevators in business hours. There you go. Thank you, Ray. This is a section that I can probably just delete a whole bunch of things, which I'm going to do. Except I want to keep his, like these bits. Doesn't appear to want to. So I'm just going to select these, drag this onto my shelf to create a new button under Mel, edit, call it Lizard. So now when I press this, have all of his controls able to be selected minus the arcade handles. This is the one I want, so I'm going to make this key right here the main key, and I'm just going to delete most of this. Select these extras. Have this in between, and then just delete all this shit. No worries, Josh. Thanks for sticking around, man. Good luck on your journey. Thank you, mate. Have a good day. So again, these keys here are making my life quite difficult. So I'm going to take these. Oh, I'm just going to run with it. Fuck it. Just go with the flow. Wonder if I bake out his current geometry. Just gonna do something to try to remove the amount of work of counter animation that I have to do. Just gonna save and bake these keys from 11:10 to 12:20 on 2s. And then mute. Yeah, nope. Shit. Alright, well, fuck it. Let's keep it on, keep it on. It seems to have helped me in some spaces, not as much in others with that bake. Which is okay. So again, just going to look at these steps through the scene. Whatever reason, his foot's lost plant. So I want to take this key, put it back here. Not even worth having these keys. It's just more effort. See that? Fucking hell. Ugh. Okay. This is gonna make more work for myself, but it's gonna also save me doing more work for myself. So from here, I can... What do I want to do? I want to bring him up. not bring him back. So let's just for now square him out. And then I reckon this is going to be the easiest. Learn from your mistakes. Make your life easier than harder. It is not worth it to spend time on things that don't matter. Believe me. And matter is all relative, of course. So at the end of the day, do whatever you want. Just know I tried. So now I need to even up his steps. Because that's not right. Neither is this. I'm just going to assume that I have to fix all of them. Pole vector. Tedious life of animation. Just know that in the end, it's all worth it. It always is. Let's do this other foot. Bring it back in line. It's getting closer. This foot's not helping though. So I don't want that to come as far across. So I can just reduce these keys, distance traveled, maybe bring it back a little bit more though, between these two. Fix that pole vector. Bring it back a little bit more. And under him a little bit more. We don't want him to fall over. Now I really need to worry about... This is okay. Really, he should hop forward here. A little bit quick. So I am wanting him to hop, but I don't want him to be like completely losing his sense of weight. So I can start to bring him across a little bit earlier. It's almost worth me removing those two keys on this. Well, I guess I am. Do you ever say something but not actually mean to do it, and then you do it anyway? That was me, right now. See that? So now, really, I just need to realign his body over the top of his feet, and then fill in the gaps. Sounds easier than it is. I thought I fixed you, Paul Victor. Okay. Probably just need to lower him a little bit more. now, not bad. Except this section, of course. Well, now I can just probably key the root and delete everything minus God. Kind of sucks when you realize how much time you've wasted doing things that don't end up benefiting your life. But I guess all of this is learning, which is a benefit of life. So, don't be hard on yourself. Okay. Let's take this control, key that. Take this control, key that. Delete everything in between. Don't know why he's swinging the way that he is. Still another key on the rotate. There we go. Successfully fought. Want him kind of 3/4. Alright, now we're no longer fighting. Yay. Except he's still doing this, which is that one, which is key 58. So I'm going to delete key 58. And then so he steps, step, step. So by then he should be over here. He should be over here. Weight should be on this side. Foot should be coming through with him. Pole vector in front. Except I need this foot to stay to that. Keep his translate across until the next foot comes through. Okay, that hop's already feeling way better. Sorry for sipping right in the mic. Apologies. I realized after I did that. So, as you can see, he's a lot further over to translate X right or left, whatever way you're looking at it, than he needs to be. I think it's actually the translate Z, yeah. So I'm going to bring him across. Don't know what this foot's doing now. Oh, he's stepping on a rock. No worries. Bloody pole vector. Give me a bit of weight since I've lost it all now that I've deleted a lot. And that's unfortunately just the process of animation a lot of the time. You're gonna be deleting, you're gonna be restarting, and yeah, I'll be the first to tell you that it sucks. I'm also gonna be the first to tell you again and myself that this is the necessity of creation. Sometimes it has to start again. And that's okay. It's good to start again. It's life. At least we get to in animation, in, you know, traditional art forms, a lot of painting, etc. You don't even have the choice. You just really have to make it a part of the artwork. Any errors? It's like, what is it? Kintsugi? Kitsugu? Quick fact check. Just so I remember. Kintsugi. Kintsugi. Which is a Japanese form of repairing things that have been broken with gold. So that, for one, it's repaired, but so that you can amplify the actual damage that's been done in that bowl, which often ends up making it look a whole lot more beautiful. So let's try and rotate X. We don't need to have him walk like he's got a pooey diaper. But we do want him to walk like he's got some weight behind him. Oops. Different keyboards. Okay. This foot later. Since now it's changed. Keep that, delete that, delete that. Bring this up here, this here, keep that there. It's better. It's not perfect, but it's better. That's what we aim for. Better and better each time. So again, he's probably a little too far to the screen right, as well as maybe, yeah, actually worked pretty gosh darn well. And then, nope, that was it. Flatten that out. Flatten. Do I want to flatten that out? Nope. No, I need a little bit more left, right. Oh, so much better without having to fight that offset control. Change this 2 frames forward so that foot holds on the ground and then comes up as he's stepping forward, as you would with a walk. And then section from that can be brought backwards. And also brought outwards. And up. So now a little bit weightless there. So now he still has a bit of that hop, but without the offset battle. As you can see, there's toe animation going on that you don't want. We want to keep it down up until there. Delete this key. Doesn't need to come left. Fix the pole vector. Alright. I think this is actually in a place where I don't need to worry about things. So now, whew, what an effort. God. It's messed up the ending, unfortunately, but it's worth it to not have to battle with that offset. I'm just gonna quickly go through and delete anything after 1180 because I don't need it. Same with this. Keep that. Don't need it. So many unnecessary keys. Goes forward. He prepares himself. God, I've lost all weight through this area, which is a little bit demoralizing. I'm not going to lie, but I've done it to myself, so. So just trying to amplify, stomp a little bit more. Could probably delay the foot by a frame or two. All right. So I want to have a little less anticipation on that. But firstly, I'm just going to level it out. Cool. Okay, it's getting better. But I want to have this as a key pose. And this needs to blend parent. Yeah, very clunky. But give it a save. I've got about 12 minutes, 11 minutes left. Currently, first half. It's coming together. It's quite well. This is my last stream. I'll give this the time that it needs outside of the stream, so hopefully this is going to look a lot better once it's finished in my eyes. Worst comes to worst, you know, I cut it off halfway and it looks alright, but it's not the vision that I intended. But I would love to have the axe chop and yeah, it's hard to say. Maybe it's just about finishing him off in a cool final pose here. I was very ambitious with the mindset of having the axe chop. I've got some dialogue that goes along with it now, which kind of makes me need to finish it off to where it is. If I keep on keeping on, I believe I can do it. And that's what we need. We need belief. No one's going to believe in us if we don't believe in ourselves. So this is alright. Except I can keep his chest a little bit more forward. Just very so much eases into this pose. Where does he need to be? I think he needs to be Getting there. It's funny how knowing that you have time pressure makes you work better. Setting an end date for yourself. Make it a little bit more dynamic, pose-wise. It doesn't need to be two hands. Reset this guy back to original. Again, thinking about animation principles. Squash and stretch and the overlap. Up this hand. That's actually it. It's time up for the stream. So, gonna give it a save, give it a play blast to commemorate the stream. I'll actually just give a quick rendered look of how it's going to come together in the end. Just for good old time's sake. So that's actually how the rendered view is going to look. It's doing quite a lot of sampling. Can hear the fan chugging for the computer. Hopefully I don't break it. It's quite pink for some reason. I don't know why. But as you can see, the detail from the bump map coming through. It's got some dead pixels on his face for some reason. But this, compared to that, you can tell what's more appealing. So that's it. That's how it's gonna look. Some nice lighting from Jake. Amplify the scene. Let's do a quick play blast and then I'll be on my way. Almost there. So the ending's gonna be a bit butchered. Try to look past that.
What have you done? It was so clean.
Yeah, not bad.
What have you
Not bad.
done?
It's half there.
It was so clean. What have you done?
Alright, well that'll do me. Until next time, Ether.
Clean.
I bid you farewell. Good luck. Have fun. Do what you love. And have a beautiful life. See you on the flip side.